now that more information has came out, we can officially talk about this shooting in Louisville. Now, gang, really quick. The mainstream media has this tendency to like these ordeals. It gives them an opportunity to kind of push certain agendas. But don't worry, we're not going to be talking much about that, even though this guy, Connor Sturgeon, according to his social media, is not exactly fitting the profile. However, I will say this. Upon the coverage I just watched, I think the governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, I really like the fact that he did not jump to politics right off the bat, which, by the way, is not what should be jumped to the minute something like this occurs. Well, now that we have a little bit more information on this guy, Connor Sturgeon, the guy who went inside the National Bank in Louisville, Kentucky, and decided he wanted to shoot some people he used to work with. Now that we're also finding out that this individual is also a former employee, we can now talk about this issue a little bit. And don't worry, there's probably going to be a follow-up video at a later date, especially given the fact that more information is going to be coming out. Now, you're going to hear me say this at least twice in this video, that I initially did not want to touch this story at first because the reporting on it was so wonky. As a matter of fact, CNN, I caught this earlier today on Steven Crowder, that CNN had reported that 6 were killed, and then all of a sudden the newspapers, the news media had like Newsweek and NPR, and them were saying it was 4. There was one that said 5. Hell, there was even one that even said 8. But now that we got the real full numbers, I guess we can now talk about this. So make sure you guys stick around for the full video. And we're also going to be talking about a recent trend that I have seen, especially since about 2017, 2018 time frame. So make sure you guys stick around.
Shots fired in a bank in Louisville as the U.S. suffers through yet another mass shooting. At least 4 people are dead and many other are injured this morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Julian Glover.
And I'm Kristen Z. New details are emerging in the deadly shooting that happened inside a downtown Louisville bank. Now, this is what we know so far. The gunman reportedly entered an Old National Bank with an AR-15 rifle and began shooting. Police say they got to the bank within 3 minutes of the 911 call and confronted the shooter. 2 officers were shot, one of them in the head. We know at least 4 people have been killed. 8 more have been injured, including 2 in critical condition. The shooting hits close to home for Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
I have a very close friend that didn't make it today. And I have another close friend who didn't either, and one who's at the hospital that I hope is going to make it through. So when we talk about praying, I hope people will.
Police are still trying to determine a motive right now. They say the gunman appears to be a former employee of that bank, Old National Bank.
The reason why I did not touch this one earlier, and of course this video will be released roughly right around noon tomorrow, don't worry, it will probably be a much shorter video than the last videos that I've released, is because the reporting on this event, this shooting, was pretty wonky. As I'll explain in a video that comes out later on today, talking about Greg Popovich immediately, instead of answering questions about his impending retirement, he decided he wanted to jump straight to gun control. That video comes out after this one. And how is I explained that a lot of these celebrities are, for the most part, just paid shills, head coaches, etc., etc., etc. I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going at with this. But this guy here, Sturgeon, let's see, former employee of the bank. Let's see, what else have we got here? These memes and all these Reddit posts and all this stuff that's coming out. Oh yeah, that's right. We've got pronouns too. Doesn't exactly seem to me like some lowly right-wing nut. Seems to me like it's basically another one of those jilted types that comes from the side of the aisle that always loves to play the victim. All that good stuff here. Now the fact of the matter is this right here. The governor there, Andy Beshear, and I've got people that I serve with in the state of Kentucky, they do not like him. And of course, I'm pretty sure that right there was not his full speech. I obviously feel for him. He lost a friend, obviously one of the officers working, obviously one of the officers that responded, and another officer that was wounded. Fact of the matter is that this entire ordeal comes down to culture. A former employee, probably more than likely jilted with how he was let go or fired. Is it possible that maybe he may have been... Well, you know what, I'm not going to speculate at this moment in time because I'm pretty sure more details are going to come out here in the near future. Fact of the matter is that these shootings, stuff like this right here, has got to do with culture. And we got to ask ourselves a question. what exactly is causing all of this? Now, guys, for a while now, I have noticed something about these shootings. It seems to me that they are all, to a certain degree, let's just say that when they go out of their way to say that this certain individual is of a certain political ideology, it feels to me that a lot more of these people are being exposed as, let's just say, not the right kind of people that the media love to say is the problem. It seems to me it's the people that they constantly push. So I'm really interested to see how they push this. But let's go through this really quick because obviously there's a problem. You see, I am almost on board with saying that shootings like this right here should not be classified as mass shootings, but should be classified almost as domestic terror. Let's go ahead and think about it. Let's just kind of backtrack just a little bit. Let's go over the history of some recent shooters. By the way, some of these shooters, of course, come from the right, and of course, many more as of late have been coming from the left. Let's take a look at this. Let's go back to the Nashville shooting just for a second. That individual was a girl identifying as a guy, a former student at the school, kills 3 kids, obviously doesn't like Christians, basically posted all kinds of things to let you know something was obviously going on with that person, obviously fit a certain ideology. You've got massive protests in Nashville, Tennessee. You've got all these trans activists running inside the building, which of course results into, let's just say, 3 Democrat lawmakers who decided to take advantage of the entire situation. They got booted. They got expelled from Congress. Thank God Republicans should, in fact, show their teeth and actually throw these people out for being who the hell they are, a bunch of troublemakers. So you had that. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. The shooting that occurred in Buffalo. Yeah, that guy there, he targeted black people. Come to find out that he had this extremely pro-white manifesto, but yet that manifesto that he had was one that kind of sort of leaned a little bit more towards the Marxist communistic side. Don't worry, we'll be discussing topics of racism in the left here in the near future. Oh, wait, that's right. You had that guy, the El Paso shooter, that guy there that kept on saying was right-wing and that he didn't like Hispanics. But yet his actual MyLife.com page showed that he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And in the meantime, at the exact same time, you had a shooter that claimed to be an Elizabeth Warren supporter and was a Satan worshiper. Oh, that's right. The guy who shot Steve Scalise, he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So it makes you wonder, what is causing all of this? Are we sure it's not the online rhetoric? Are you sure it's not the people like, all these left-wing personalities screaming that right-wingers have got to die? Are you sure that's not the case? Are you sure it's not the constant railing by idiots like this here? I caught a lot of flack for saying this, especially when the Uvalde shooting occurred. It actually kind of popped up in my dome piece, and I kind of thought about it, and I was like, what are the things that could be leading to this? I mean, obviously people don't really care about their country anymore. Obviously patriotism has kind of sort of gone down. I think that it was Fox News at one point in time released a poll about that certain individuals of a political party, the one that begins with D, were a lot less patriotic than those on the right side of the aisle. It may have been a Gallup poll. Either way, I just kind of inserted this in here. Anyways, I've also seen, and let me say this real quick. I know I'm kind of stuttering here a little bit, but in that particular video, I talked about the fact that people did not care about their communities anymore. Now, obviously, Louisville, Kentucky is a much, much larger city than the common small town, but I also think there's definitely a loss of civic nationalism here. People are not caring about their fellow neighbor. They're not caring about anybody that, let's just say, lives around them. They're not caring about the people that they see every day. It's almost like we're creating a world where we're actually losing, how do I say, the ability to communicate with our fellow man, our fellow woman rationally. As I've said on multiple occasions, of course, the left is going to come in here and they're going to blame the right for this, but you've had a lot of prominent liberals come out and say, look, you guys went way too far. We haven't really changed. You can still have a conversation with somebody who disagrees with you, and even though you may not agree on things, you can obviously agree to disagree and still enjoy the ball game or whatever. But right now it's getting to a point in time where you have a certain radicalized section of individuals, especially a lot of them are turning out to be young males, who are now finding out that a certain ideology that they've been pitched for the last 4 or 5 years online is not working out for them. I mean, you tell these guys that they're toxic, you tell them, I mean, you attack them all the time. And of course, you've got the much more feminist type men are the ones who are actually doing all the violence. You've got to kind of wonder why that is the case. It's almost like something that I've been thinking about for a while, an incoming crisis of men that is coming, especially given the fact that 2/3 of males aged 18 to 30 are single and they're not exactly hooking up. I mean, the sexual frustration levels are obviously pretty high, and we're also seeing where a lot of young men are still virgins. I don't know about you, but most guys my age lost their virginity at a much, much younger age. I mean, I'm not promoting sex before marriage or anything. I'm just simply saying that if you're not getting married and yet you're not getting laid, this right here could also lead to other problems. I'm not saying that sexual frustration was a factor here, but I'm pretty sure if you dig a little bit further in this guy's past, you may find some failed relationships or some failed attempts at it. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. Radicalizing people. By the way, Jink was out there telling people a while back, especially people who were trans. I did a video on this, that trans should have guns. Even though this guy Sturgeon was obviously not trans, he definitely was a jilted employee. Definitely wanted to stick it to the patriarchy. It looks to me like that's actually what he wanted to do. Of course, more details will come out, and I'm pretty sure that I'll be here eating my words. But I do have adequate info now to kind of make a bit of an assessment to say to myself that obviously this right here was somebody that was obviously jilted, probably felt jilted by the system, probably felt jilted by the fact that he had to actually go to work, probably felt jilted by his employees who were all probably older than him, much, much more mature, that sort of thing there. A tendency to rebel, and I guess their tendency to rebel has led them to start shooting cops and people that are much, much older than them, you know, because that's what, for the most part, these people do. They prey on what it is called the weak. Like I said before, not happy people, very miserable people. People who, quite frankly, live in misery. People who, quite frankly, have to use social media to get a few dopamine hits, just a few hits here and there. Join the club. Let me join the anti-Trump club. I don't like Christians. I don't like white people. I don't like these people over here. So why not go ahead and join the leftist little cult? Why not do that, and why not get a little bit radicalized in the process? I mean, we don't fully know yet, but I'm pretty sure we have enough to speculate on, given the fact that 4 are dead and it looks like 8 to 9 are wounded. By the way, the reporting is still changing on this. I'm pretty sure by the time this video comes out, we'll probably have another detail. And don't worry, I'll be here to talk about it. But the fact of the matter is that these people are being radicalized mostly online through social media. And we'll do some social media talks here, bigger deep dive. But like I said before, I've noticed this trend. I've noticed a very, very big trend with these people. I just figure I would share this with you now that we've got adequate information on what's going on. But wait a minute. We'll be hearing gun control. We'll be hearing the gun control rhetoric here over the next couple of weeks. I mean, we're going into 2024. And, of course, you're not going to be able to pull off what you did and can't actually say it, or else we'll get knocked offline. But you can expect, obviously, a lot more of this rhetoric to continue to flow, because that's all these people do. They love to use that pro wrestling playbook against one another, pit this person against the other. And, of course, guys like myself, we got to come out here and we got to kind of expose it for what the hell it really and truly is. But don't worry, more details will be coming here in the near future. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, please hit the like button. I just figured I'd give you guys some updates. This video right here will be coming out first tomorrow, so therefore when you see the video that comes out at 3 about Popovich and his push for gun control after everything that was going on, you'll probably get an understanding of why it was I initially did not want to touch this topic until I got much, much more adequate information. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, and I will see you guys later.